רגע, את עוד שנייה יראו אותך, רגע. עדן, שומעת אותי?
רותם, את שמעת אותי בסדר? כן.
כן.
אחת, אני רוצה להבין למה...
האמת שלא כזה טוב, האמת שלא שומעת אותך כזה טוב.
אוקיי, רגע.
שנייה, אני רגע אאשר את ניר. יש לך את המצגת? כן. סבבה. אז יש מצב, באמת שלא שומעים אותך טוב. אותי את שומעת טוב?
אני שומעת אותך מצוין, את לא שומעת אותי בכלל?
לא, אני שומעת, אבל קצת חלש.
חכי רגע.
רגע, אני הולכת את זה לפאנליסט.
דקה.
co-host, yes. ניר, מה קורה?
בסדר, מה נשמע?
מצוין, מצוין. אני רואה שאתה בצ'אט שם. אוקיי.
שומעת אותי בסדר עכשיו?
כן, אבל כאילו, את הכי גבוה אצלי ואני לא שומעת כזה טוב. ניר, אתה שומע את עדן טוב?
כן, דברי רגע, עדן. עדן?
או שהיא לא שם?
קצת פרוז.
ניר, nice to meet.
לגמרי, לגמרי. יש איזה דיליי איתה, אני חושב.
נועם, אתה יכול להוריד את זה שלך? רגע. בסדר, טוב, תודה. אוקיי. רותם?
כן, שומעים עכשיו יותר טוב.
מה קורה?
מצוין, מצוין.
היי.
אהלן.
עכשיו את רואה את ניר?
כן. היי. ניר, אהלן. מה נשמע?
אני קצת שומע אותך מקוטע.
אני רואה את ניר, אתם שומעים אותי יותר טוב?
הכל כן, אבל...
האמת שאת קצת מקוטעת.
אני עוברת לאינטרנט חוטי, אז רק שנייה, גם זה ייקח דקה. אוקיי. תנו לזה דקה להתאפס.
יש כאן עוד מישהו שבא...
כן, כן, אני רואה. כן, כן, אני רואה אותו. עוד שנייה לזה.
אז אני מזהה. רגע, קול ותמונה, התאפס. אין מה לעשות, תמיד צריך. קטע שאני עבדתי מהבית חודשים, ועכשיו צריך להקים את העמדה מחדש.
כן, זה...
יופי. קודם כל,
מוסטפא...
אם עכשיו עובד חלק, זה מה שחשוב.
לא, מוסטפא, אנחנו לא שומעים אותך.
רגע, השארת אותו?
כן, הוא ממש נמצא פה. מוסטפא, עדיף שאני אדבר באנגלית. מוסטפא, can you hear me?
כן.
הלינק שכולם מצטרפים זה יהיה פה?
כן, רותם, אולי עדיף שעוד לא... כאילו, אנחנו צריכים רגע להתאפס על הדברים, אז בואי נאשר אנשים ב9.
כן, אני לא מאשרת, אבל אני חושבת, יש מצב שרואים את זה. זו פעם ראשונה שאנחנו עושים את הוובינר בצורה כזאת.
אוקיי. אז אני מציעה לכתוב לו... First of all, hi Mustafa, I hope you can hear us. I'm glad you're with us. You've joined a bit early, so just give us a sign that you can hear us and everything is good. We will take another 10 minutes to organize and just see that the presentation is here and that you're here with us. It's wonderful. So I'm going to look in the chat and make sure that you can see us and hear us. Perfect. So excuse us that we're talking in Hebrew for a sec. We're just getting ourselves ready, and the rest of the people are going to join us in a second. Okay? Just give us a sign that you're hearing all of this. טוב, אנחנו מחכים בעצם לשני דוברים נוספים. ניר, אהלן, נעים מאוד.
היי.
להב, תכף עולה.
אני אציג את עצמי תכף בצורה מסודרת מול כולם, אבל בגדול אני אנחה את החלק של הפאנל. אני מראש מתנצלת שטיפה קיצרתי לכם את הביו, מפאת זמנים, אבל אני ככה, היה לי חשוב גם להגיד לך באופן אישי. הליינאפ של איך שהדברים הולכים להיות, זה בעצם, אני אחזור על זה עוד מעט שוב גם כשאחרים יהיו, אבל בגדול אנחנו, רותם תעשה פתיחה קצרה של משהו כמו 5 עד 7 דקות, רק כדי להציג את הרעיון של COVID Solutions, ואז ברגע שהמשכות יעברו אליי, אנחנו בעצם נתחיל את הסשן של הפאנל, שהוא יעבוד בצורה של בעצם חלקים של כל דובר. לכל דובר יהיה בין 3 ל-4 דקות שנייה להציג את הרעיון הכללי מאחורי היוזמה. שקופיות מוכנות עם שאלות שאני מאמינה שרותם הראתה לכם לפני. הנה, הם מצטרפים, אז אני שנייה...
כן.
רגע.
רגע, אני שמה את זה. להב, אתה שומע אותנו?
כן, מה העניינים?
מצוין,
רגע.
מצוין. מעולה.
אהלן להב.
היי, מה שלומך?
טוב, נעים מאוד. אני תכף אציג את עצמי בצורה...
כן, אני מחכה.
לא, להב, אתה הפוך, להב, אתה הפוך. צריך להפוך לנו את הזה.
ניר,
רגע,
איפה
אני
אתה
מבטל את
יושב עם
הנעילה
כל
של
כך
המסך.
הרבה אור בחוץ? אתה בארץ? מה זה?
לא, אני בארץ, אולי אני ביום האקתון עולמי, אבל אני בארץ. אנחנו פשוט בדיוק עכשיו לפני מקליטים את הסרטונים שלנו, אז עושים את זה עם רקע כזה שמתאים.
וואו, זה רקע סופר אמיתי. לא יודעת.
האמת שזה אני צילמתי גם, זה לא קנוי.
מעולה, מעולה. זה רקע מצוין. לרגע ממש אמרתי לעצמי, איך יכול להיות שיש לך אור בשעה כזאת?
זה רעיון טוב, לא חשבתי על זה.
אמרתי, בוא'נה, שווה. יופי. אז להב, אהלן, רגע, להב, איך אני... how do I pronounce את השם משפחה שלך? איך אני אומרת את נכון?
דרי.
דרי, אוקיי, כי קראתי את זה
Like
באנגלית.
dairy products?
דרי פרודקט, נייס, אסוסיישן טוב. מעולה, יופי, אז עכשיו אני יודעת איך לציין. ושלך, ניר? רק כדי שאני...
קוריס, ניר קוריס.
ניר קוריס ולהב דרי, מעולה. ורותם בירם, סתם לא, את לא רותם בירם, את פשוט מפריעה לי שם.
עכשיו כולם יחשבו שאני לא נורא.
את יכולה לעשות שינוי, יש שם...
נכון, האמת שאת צודקת.
כדאי.
האמת שאת צודקת. אוקיי, רגע, מי נעלם לנו? להב?
להב, ואנחנו מחכים לרוני, נכון?
לרוני. אני מציעה שבואו נתחיל כאילו, ומקסימום נחבר את רוני זה, כי הוא מתעכב בפגישה אחרת, אז נראה לי כאילו... בואו נעשה.
אבל חשוב שהוא יהיה בזמן, כי ב9 אנחנו מתחילים, ואני רוצה שכולם באמת יראו את המצגת. אז במילה וחצי עליי, ומי אני ולמה אני פה בכלל. אז קוראים לי עדן, אני מנהלת הקהילה בארגון שנקרא אקטייל. אנחנו עמותה שבעצם מנהלת קהילה של אקטיביסטים שפועלים ברשתות החברתיות נגד תנועות החרם, נגד אנטישמיות ולמען ישראל. אנחנו מבינים היום בעצם שהתודעה של אנשים מתעצבת ברשתות החברתיות, ואנחנו רוצים להיות שם עם אנשים אמיתיים שיביעו גם את הדברים. הארגון שלנו בעצם הוקם אחרי צוק איתן, מה שנקרא חמ"ל הסטודנטים במרכז הבינתחומי, ומאז הוא רץ בשיתוף עם המרכז הבינתחומי בארגון אמריקאי שנקרא IAC, שזה Israel American Council. יש לנו אפליקציה ייחודית שפיתחנו, שמאפשרת לכל אחד לראות איפה צריך אותו ומה הוא יכול לעשות. והיום אנחנו עובדים בעצם בכמה פלטפורמות, גם באפליקציה הייחודית שלנו, גם קבוצה של 5,000 פעילים בפייסבוק, ועמוד אינסטגרם שפועל באופן שוטף. אז זה התחום שלנו, אונליין אקטיביזם ברשתות החברתיות, והארגון שלנו מן הסתם מלווה יחד. ואנחנו נותנים את האינפוטים שלנו מעולם הרשתות, מעולם האנשים ומעולם האקטיביזם. ואני בעצם אהיה המודרטור של בפאנל הזה, אז אני ממש שמחה להיות פה איתכם, ונרגשת להכיר אתכם ואת המיזמים שאני ככה קראתי ומכירה, אבל אלמד יחד עם המשתתפים היום. אז להב, אני מאמינה שאתה שומע אותנו, אני יודעת שאנחנו פה רואים...
שומע היטב.
אני עוצרת אותך, אולי שווה רגע להגיד את המילה באנגלית, כי אני רואה שיש פה עוד אנשים שנכנסים, אז רק להגיד שאנחנו עוד 2 דקות מתחילים.
אוקיי. Guys, if you're with us, welcome. Hello, everyone. We will be starting shortly. I will introduce myself. We will be sure to introduce our fabulous speakers that we have here today. So we will take 4 more minutes to organize, and you guys are going to enjoy your ride with us. Perfect. So בינתיים אני רק אשתף לנו מסך. נכון, רותם? אני יכולה לשתף מסך?
כן, את יכולה.
אוקיי. אוקיי, אתם כולכם רואים את המסך שלי, נכון? יופי. ואנחנו מחכים לרוני, נכון?
כן.
אוקיי.
אוקיי.
Okay, perfect. So hello, meanwhile, to Mustafa, Julian, Nir, suppose you're from Israel. We'll start in a
Already
few
have
minutes.
people on with us.
Yeah.
Guys, you are more than welcome to start introducing yourself in the chat so we know who's with us and where you're from. That will be great. So we can address you in your personal name and kind of have reference from where you're from. I'm going to stop the share right now so we can see, you can see us.
So guys, meanwhile, as Eden said, if you can write down where you're from, you can write city, a country, that would be nice, just like to hook everybody up. Start in a few minutes. רגע, מה עם רוני? רוני ממש עולה, רק רגע.
Welcome, Julian, from the Netherlands. That's exciting. Hello from Amsterdam. Magniv. Good.
Netherlands. It's the best. It's leading.
How is the weather in Netherlands? Perfect. That's exactly how it should be.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you have an Israeli name. How is that your Netherlands? Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Well, years, that's impressive, Neil. So we know who to go to if we need recommendations on our next visit when it's going to ever happen. Not sure.
I just found you on LinkedIn here. So, yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So you can talk to Julian. Both of you are from the Netherlands. I don't know if you speak Dutch.
Neil, where are you now? What is it? Neil, where are you?
At home.
Is that home? Looks like a library.
No, I meant Nir from the group. We have two Nirs here.
Ah, no, I'm talking about, yeah, Neil Kuris.
Yes, yes. I wish I was in the Netherlands right now, but unfortunately not. Yeah, Nir, how did you find about this amazing webinar that we're starting?
I don't. So I just like call on it to make sure.
Perfect. We're joined now. Before we begin, we're more than welcome you guys to write your name, where you're from, just to get to know the people who are listening to us today. So absolutely be free to introduce yourself. Maybe we know you, and we can say a personal hello. Okay, so welcome, Ronnie. Hi.
Hi.
Will we able to see you?
No, unfortunately, I have no head. Yeah, in a second.
Perfect. So before you all get to see those beautiful entrepreneur smiles in front of you, I'll take this opportunity while Ronnie is kind of adjusting himself to give a little bit of overview of what we're going to have today and what's the lineup going to be, so you all have a bit of information of how this event is going to go through. My name is Eden, which I'm going to introduce myself formally in a sec, but I will give a bit of an overview about today. We are going to spend the next hour together in a really, really interesting panel about really special, unique initiatives that happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. With three really spectacular entrepreneurs who are joining us today for this panel to share a little bit about their ideas, their projects, and what they plan, and also to learn from what we can take home. Hi, Nir, Ronnie, again. Nice to see you. The way that this panel is going to happen is that Rotem, who's here, I don't know what side she is to me, but she's going to give a little bit of overview of the project COVID-19 solution. Afterwards, I would introduce our speakers a little bit about the project itself and what they're doing. And later on, we're going to dive into a short bites of each initiative where every entrepreneur is going to kind of present their initiative, a few questions in order for us to learn a deeper understanding. And after the three entrepreneurs are done, we are going to open for a Q&A session for you guys to share with us your thoughts, questions, or anything else you want to learn. So this is me reminding you now, and I will continue to remind you doing it as we go with this hour, to write your questions during the talks, during our speakers' talk, to the chat box. If I'm pretty sure that it's no one's first time on Zoom, but if it happens to be, then you can see on the bottom of your screen of the window of your Zoom, you would see a chat box. This is where you're going to write your questions. Rotem and I both are going to collect all of your questions during the time that our speakers talk, and when we get to the Q&A session, we're going to address you with a question. You will be more than welcome, if possible, to unmute yourself. If not, we're going to read it out loud, and our speakers are going to address it. I remind you that this is a very positive event. We're here to learn from each other, so let's keep it a positive and a learning experience and respect one another in any form of way. If it's a word of choice and so on, let's keep it nice and pleasant for all of us, and we will definitely respect all of our speakers' time, and we will be ending this session at 10. So with no further ado, I would like to invite Rotem to the stage to talk a little bit about COVID-19, and I will introduce myself in a second.
Perfect. Thank you, Ellen.
COVID-19 solutions, sorry.
COVID-19 solutions, yeah, of course. So hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm really happy to have all of you here with us. So just like to make sure that we're all in the same page, COVID-19 solutions. It's an initiative started by Israelis, a young group of Israelis who decided to take different initiatives, idea, thoughts, solutions, different solutions in the Israeli society, and to concentrate it into one site, one platform that actually can share with each other, any person in the world, this information. So why we're doing this, we truly believe in the value of mutual responsibility. As like each and every one of you are coming from different countries, different cultures, different thoughts and opinions, and different state of mind. We believe that in every country we have different challenges also during the coronavirus. So we decided to like mix everybody in one platform that like each and every can share with each other different solutions. And we deeply invite all of you to get some inspiration from this webinar, from this session, from these three amazing speakers that are going to speak here today. And I would say one more thing. After this webinar, we'll truly invite you to be one of the panelists here and to present your own ideas, your own initiatives. I would say you're gonna meet here, as I said, three different speakers with different ideas. But I want each and every one of you, once you are listening this webinar, to think about two things that would definitely help you to be focused. So for the first time, think about the story. What is the story that is coming behind of the speaker, behind of the leader of the initiative? And think about what is the method, what is the tools and the skills that the leader needs to actually promote his idea. And I would say one more thing. Think about how you can actually implement it in your own country, in your own community, because this is how we actually can create a digital community, or you can call it also community, a movement of people who are sharing ideas. And so I don't want to like add more. I want to pass the mic to Eden. And say one more thing, tomorrow we'll have another session of webinar. So stay tuned and be like, just like have an interesting webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rotem. I would ask our speakers to be on mute for a second, just so we could make sure that we don't have background noises. Thank you. So my name is Eden. I am the head of community and programs in an organization called ACT-IL, which leads a community of activists that acts together against anti-Semitism on social media and for the state of Israel. You can also find us online. You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram, but that's not what we're here for today. I will be hosting our wonderful speakers today, and I will be here also to moderate between your questions as audience towards our speakers. So feel free again to send any question you might have on the chat box, and we will be sure to collect it all. So without further ado, let's meet a little bit of our speakers who are present here today. Again, speakers, thank you so much for dedicating your time for this project, which absolutely share knowledge and ideas and connect between people from all over the world who want to learn about the day after the pandemic and what we can do. And I think this is what globalism is all about, is literally kind of creating this think tank of people who are sharing the same pain and kind of creating different solutions. So I would like to start with presenting our first, this is not by order, but our first entrepreneur. I would like to kind of wait for us, Lahav Deri, a young, innovative business developer. Lahav is a real estate investor in the US market and one of the founders of the Staying Together initiative, which we're going to hear about in a second. I would also want to welcome Ronnie Flemmer. Hi, Ronnie. Since 2002, Ronnie has served as the founder and CEO of All Movement. The movement goal is to develop and settle the Negev and the Galilee areas and work toward holistic solutions for young people and affordable housing in the periphery. During the COVID-19, Ronnie was one of the leaders of the One Heart operational room. Waiting to hear about that as well. Last but not least, I want to welcome Nir Kuris, who is the leader of the World Hackathon Day initiative. Nir manages executive networking relations with decision makers in organization at the national and international level. He's a senior professional and a pioneer of strategic digital marketing in Israel. He built hundreds of companies via various of social media channels, such as YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Google, and etc. Welcome, guys. We are super excited to have all of you here. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with all of you guys so we can start the presentation and your comments and thoughts and ideas. So we are going to share the screen right now. Okay. Should have read your bios with your pictures, but I'm assuming that our participants were able to see you also on the screen and smiling in live and not only a frozen picture. So we are more than excited to start with your ideas. We're going to call them solutions, but the process we're going to go through together now is understanding not the end goal of a solution, but actually going with you guys from the understanding that there was a problem. What triggered you as entrepreneurs to find the solution and how we led it from an idea to real life, which I'm pretty sure that any one of us can implement that kind of thoughts and actions into our daily life and to big projects that we want to lead in the future. So I would like to invite the entrepreneurs of this amazing relevant initiative called Staying Together. So I'm not going to do it. So go ahead, unmute yourself so we can hear a little bit.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Yeah, you can hear me?
Perfect.
Okie dokie. Ellen, thank you for the introduction.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'll start by let's just go through the this whole thing and how it started. The solution is very simple. So during this whole time of quarantine and the coronavirus, I started actually working, volunteering with Lev Echad. So Ronnie Palmer is a disclosure, is my boss, kind of. And during this time, we had this, not me really, but one of my friends, she came to me and she said that, what do you think all the people do in the hospitals? Because when you think about it, they're staying in the hospitals and they're quarantined. So I don't know if any one of you were in the hospital and see how this whole sector of quarantine with the coronavirus work. But basically, what happens is that a nurse needs to take around 2 hours to go inside the place, and she can't really stay more than 3 hours because it's sweaty and it's with all the gear and everything. And then she leaves. So it's very hard to give attention to those patients. And I don't know what about you, but I found myself 200 times, I don't know, during this period, just FaceTiming people. And I have a lot of friends in New York, in Europe, in Israel. I was just bored. I was just quarantined myself. And I just thought, what do those people do? And when you think about it, some of those people, not some of them, the majority of those people are very old. And I don't know what about your parents, but my parents don't know how to use FaceTime or Zoom or Skype. So we just looked at each other and we said, let's do a little research. Let's see what's going on in the hospitals. And what we realized is that no one is really giving it attention. No one is really aware I mean, everyone knows it's like a good thing to help people see each other and communicate with the families, but no one really gave it attention. So that's how the idea came up. And you want to move on to the, yeah. So what's the solution? The solution is, I will start by saying the solution is basically supplying a very easy to communicate tablets with all the different apps like Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, whatever, with a nice stand that people that are lying down, wherever they are in the hospitals, 80 years old, 90 years old people can just easily communicate without having to do anything. And we do it by basically connect them from far. From basically, there's like a headquarter, a technological headquarter that sits and can communicate, put them in touch with their families. But I would say that the real solution is the awareness. That's what we try to create. We try to push as many of those kits, like those tablets, to those hospitals to create a standard, to create the feeling that I can only think about one thing worse than dying from a disease, and it's maybe dying alone from a disease. And we had so many stories of people in the worst case scenarios, people just being able to say goodbye to their families, being able to say goodbye. And we had many cases of people just talking to their families and 2 days later just passing away, and it's very significant, as you can imagine. So that's the solution. What's the method? So
yes.
Yeah.
When you talk about method, maybe you can also talk a little bit about the process of solving the small things that you found out that are going up through the way, because it's such an epic idea. It's so simple for such a big need, but I'm sure that on the way we had a lot of small frictions that you were supposed to fix. So maybe you can take us through that.
Yeah. So we try to create something that is comfortable, that everyone can use pretty easily, that the nurse won't have to use at all. They just can leave it in the room and let go. And don't forget that we have around 1 tablet to 7 people in each department in the hospitals. You need to make sure that you have the right family seeing like the right patient, and not having those mixtures. So we tried to buy like a few things that can see what can work, what can easily be attached to the beds, and then we just try to manage it as best as possible from far, which was the most important thing for us, because nurses, many times the nurses have time to put those tablets, but my whole process in this whole thing was, what do we do when there's a second wave and it's much worse? Now, of course, it's not necessarily going to happen. It's not necessarily going to happen that we're going to have a second wave. And if we will have a second wave, it's probably not going to be as bad. But the human race has a tendency to always assume that, once we had something going on, okay, that's it. It's done deal, we can move to the next thing. That was another thing we need to kind of like implement in the hospitals, in the staff. And the method was basically going through hospitals. Some hospitals are very poor. Some of them are more wealthy and can afford those things. But the most important thing is to see what they need, and are they making sure that their patients are getting those things? Because today, in any hospital, I don't know about in Europe or the US, but in Israel, every bed has a TV. It's a standard. And so we try to create a certain new standard for people, that because today, more and more with more and more patients in this situation, I think hospitals understand more like the necessity of putting those things in each bed, because it's the most important thing to the family, to the patient.
If I may ask
That's it.
another question just about the method, could you give us a little bit of understanding from the family's side if they want to call their
Yeah,
family
great
member?
question.
How do they operate? How does the nurse knows who to go to and so on?
Great question. So what we did is first I have to say again, who's our basically like clients or crowd. We had a lot of a population from the religious sector, which doesn't even carry any smartphones. I mean, it's not, they don't have any. And second of all, people that are very old, that are the majority of the sick people, that really can't communicate. Like I mentioned, I know for us, for our generation, it seems very easy, but for them it's not. It's simply not. I don't know. I talk to my grandmother sometimes, and she it's on FaceTime, and she's just keep it on in her next to her ear. So don't assume it's that simple for them. And now for your question, what we did is we had the social workers of each hospital kind of like maintaining the relationship with us and creating like offering the solution to the families. And then we ran like a schedule for each family, and we were able to give them tablets as well. So each one of them had a connection to the patient, and during like with the schedule, we were able to basically see who needs to speak with who. Simple.
One last question before we move on. I would like to know, as an entrepreneur, how big was the leap from, or the jump from having the idea to the really execution part? Was it easier than you expected? Was it harder? Funding, the tablets probably not easy. A little bit about that, moment of from being in your mind saying, oh my God, this is what we need right now, to really executing it and going through it as it runs, but especially like that moment of saying, how do I get myself together to make it happen, and what was your reaction when it started?
So I wouldn't say it was very difficult. It was hard to get the funds, obviously, because you really need. I'm going to give one example about why it's so difficult. I had one of the people that donated to us quite a significant amount. Is from the U.S. and what he asked me is basically, look, you're coming to me. It's one of the late donators. And he said, you're coming to me with this, but basically I see that things are relaxing and things are, again, human nature. And everything is okay. And we don't need so many, I mean, there are barely people in the hospitals. And what I tried to tell him is that, and I'm going to use a sad example, it's 9/11. If I came to you and said a day before 9/11, would you basically put bulletproof doors for the pilots? Would you do it? And you would say, no, why would I do it? So we're very smart after the act. And that's what I tried to implement in the hospitals, in the staff. So I wouldn't say it was very difficult. It's just something that sometimes it just needs to happen. It just needs to happen. So
yeah. Thank you. Last but not least, we asked all of our entrepreneurs here that joining us today to give us a few tips for anyone who has a project. So if you can think one or two of if someone has a great idea, what should be the first tip you give them to execute their idea into a real initiative?
So I would say the most important thing, and I think it's obviously this is an initiative that is there's no profit in it, but it's true for business, or that's what I believe. Keep it simple. You don't have to think about a very complicated solution, so you will feel like you need to justify something for the hospital. Sometimes keeping it simple is better. Sometimes it's just something that needs to be done. Another thing that I would say is never assume that someone else is doing it. And if there is, I mean, obviously, just you need to check for yourself and never say, yeah, someone is taking care of it, because that's what we thought initially. The second thing is, if someone is doing it, don't assume they do it good enough.
Smart.
That's what we learn.
Beautiful. Last but not least, maybe one of the questions that probably all three of you are facing. What is happening the day after?
I'm sorry, can you see me?
Yes, we see you.
Yeah.
So the day after Corona, where does this initiative go? Does it stay only for pandemics? Does it go with us to the future? Is it a new dawn for connection with patients?
Yeah, so I think that's the most interesting subject, because it's irrelevant if we'll have another wave or two more waves or whatever. We try to create a solution that anyone can operate. So the way we did it is basically we taking all those kits, those tablets, back to Lev Echad. Lev Echad, Ronnie Palmer's organization that basically operated us and helped us with the funds and everything. And I want to create an operating program for the next crisis. So I don't know if I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be able to operate the same operation when it's going to happen again. Hopefully not. But we're very busy in creating some kind of an operating program that anyone can just open, the drive or whatever, and see what can be done with easy steps. Again, like keeping it simple. So, and the way we do it is basically that's my test for it. Is if a group of people that wants to do something and help would open this whole box of folders of what we did, will they be able to understand what we did without asking us any questions? And that's what we're trying to create. And the second thing is the awareness. It's really it's the most important thing. I would love to have every hospital giving some kind of a budget to those things, to people that can communicate, because some people have a smartphone and it's great. Some people don't, but it's very important for a patient to have, and you just need to put yourself in their spot.
Absolutely.
It's very important for them to have quality communication.
Thank you so much, Lav. That was fascinating.
Thank you.
I love it. Guys, before we move on to our next entrepreneurs, I welcome you to send any questions you might have for Lav, and maybe a thought about your country and where you're from. Would this kind of initiative work for you? Would it something that you could see yourself organizing or something similar? Do you have something similar where you come from? Would love to read your thoughts. And without further ado, Ronnie, hi. Lav, you can mute yourself now. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Ronnie. Okay, Ronnie, we would love to hear a little bit about One Heart, just like a sentence so we know what we're diving into. And we're going to dive in deeper as we go with the next questions.
Great. So actually, first, it's a great privilege to be here this evening. And actually, I met Eyal, via volunteering in Lev Echad, One Heart, and same with Lav. I heard about him before, but suddenly, the corona is crossing roads of many people and issues. So it's a great privilege, and keep up the great work Israel is doing. So One Heart, I'm volunteer. Lav called me a leader, but I was called up to be part of this organization. I had no clue what it means, and I have my own organization that, as you said, what we do in the OR movement, and we were very busy by ourselves. And Erez Eshel, who is the chairman of Lev Echad, asked me to chair it with him. And I told him I cannot resist when there is an organization with the name of One Heart. So we all should be one heart in these times. And I asked him, what should we do? So he said, I don't really know, because there are needs, there are volunteers. Let's do good things together.
Ronnie, what does One Heart do? Just before you did, what is it about? It's a volunteering that do what?
One Heart is every time there is a crisis in Israel in the last 15 years, so it's an emergency community aid. So
Okay.
every time you shut it down and you call up the people when the hard times are happening, and in Israel, you know, it's happening once in a while. So this is basically what it is, and it's just a platform for volunteers. And what happened to us this time, we understood that this is a very different situation. It's not in specific place in Israel. It's not a specific crisis. It's something that everybody are part of it, every region. And we had a great challenge here to think in a different way. And while we saw many organizations doing great stuff, we said it's not enough. And as Love just ended, you should always ask if there's something more that you can do and you should do. And we decided that we are not going to look at this crisis as a crisis, but and not even as a challenge, but it's a great opportunity actually for every individual, for the country. And we were asking ourselves what should be the thing that we are not going to regret the day after the coronavirus will end. And
Well
with
said.
this question, we said it's not only about solving the calls that we had in our situation room. We had 16 situation rooms all over Israel. And we were asking ourselves, how can we get to every person, to every need? And then we came up with three things that we normally you can think about it in not in emergency times. And the first thing was we are going to take projects. Lab is a leader of one of the projects. We are not going to invent the projects. We are going just to see what is happening and to find the leaders, or the leaders will find us. And they will say, I have an idea how to solve it. And we created a platform that people can call us, ask us if it's possible to do this mission or this project, and we help them to raise some funds and to connect them to municipalities, to whoever they need it, and to call more volunteers to help them make it done.
Beautiful. Just a word about that, if I may, kind of like fine-tuning what you just said, and I understand it correctly. What you're saying is that you're providing manpower, if you want, the volunteers for civic ideas and solutions. For people who have ideas, you provide help either in financial ways by connections and networking, but also manpower to bring that initiative into life.
Yes, the point is that the field, the people on the ground, they know much better than anyone. They know exactly what they need. They have the best ideas. You just need to create them the right address, the right platform to call and start it. And yeah, it can be helpful with manpower, with funds, with, mentors. Sometimes, there were kids in the age of 16, 17, or people that just left the army the day before, and they are coming up with a great idea, but they never did it before. And on the other hand, there are many people on the age of 40, 50, 60 running companies that they have so much time, and you can connect the dots and making sure that everybody will help each other.
Yeah.
The second point was partners. Usually it's very problematic, and you need to make sure that your own organization will stay alive and survive. And, we were working almost 24 hours a day, but we decided that on the day after, we should look backwards and make sure that we were there together. And again, with the attitude that you don't know everything, and there are more organizations that they know much better than you in some other fields. And we created all in all 64 partnerships during this 2.5 months that we were working. The third thing was we understood that it's getting bigger and bigger, and we are going to lose control. And we have to lose control because, in a way, the only way to face this kind of virus is to create your own positive virus. So how can you create a positive virus? Again, you should go and find the people all over the country, and we call it the municipalities move. And every neighborhood we claim it's not only in emergency times, it should be all over the year times. Every neighborhood should act as a community.
Beautiful.
And again, we started to match. When Erez Eshel called me, there were around 1,000 volunteers. We ended the Corona with 29,000 volunteers.
Wow.
The way we did it, it's we got around 80 municipalities all over the country. It's a third of the municipalities in Israel, just to let you understand. And we told them, guys, you should lead it. We are not going to supply the manpower to you. You should supply the manpower to yourselves. And we created a methodology based on what our movement is doing on the regular days. We call it Vital Neighborhood. And every neighborhood in the world actually should function as a community. And there is a coordinator of a street, of a building, of a neighborhood. They should be aware of all the old people, of the needy people, of the kids, of the kids in risk. They know, again, much better than all of us, what are the needs and what are the solutions, because it's their local advantage. And step by step, again, we created a methodology via crisis, and it was amazing to see how people were into it, and the adopters, you know, the mayors, they know everything, mayors, you know, ministers, and they were, let's say, they were good enough to understand that they should adopt it and to run it, and these are the things that we did. We had all in all more than 40 projects.
You're leading me right to the next slide. You're actually like running with me to the next slide of literally talking about the impact, because that's exactly what you're talking about. If I'm like understanding what you're saying and kind of helping, you know, whoever joined us now understand what your product was, basically that you provided local municipalities and communities a method to manage their needs with solutions of their own community. You actually allow them to understand the connection of what they need and what they have, which is amazing because it's something that everyone can use anytime, right? Am I right?
Exactly.
Beautiful.
And some of them, they told us, no, guys, you have, as you said, you have the manpower. Please send us 230 volunteers. And we were arguing with them, we are not going to send you. We will.
Oni? Wait, I think we lost them. Or is it only just me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't hear him also.
Okay, so I think Ronnie is frozen. So until he comes back, guys, I think at least from what we heard from our two speakers now, there are things that definitely can be implemented in other places in the world. Feel free to share or ask questions because we're going to address it to our speakers later on. And I would really like to hear if you think that Ronnie's initiative he's talking about One Heart, of how to take an idea and allow local municipalities to use an idea, not an actual product, can work, and also what other ideas can work. Ronnie, you're back with us. Sorry, we lost you for a sec. We need to hear you. You can unmute yourself. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just about to say, I'm living in one of these municipalities, somewhere in the south, in Yerucham, if you know this place. So the network here is not so stable. Anyhow, I was just about to say that sometimes the most needed places are the ones that are calling for help from the outside. And we were trying our best to make sure that they are going to find their own strength and resiliency from their own city, from their people, from their from the young population in the city. And we were struggling sometimes, but it was a great success. And the impact is, as we said, it's more than 80 municipalities, almost 30,000 volunteers, more than 60 partners. But all in all, I think that we brought a spirit that was kind of a model for other organizations. For example, you know, I'm wearing now the Lev Echad shirt, okay? So this is not my organization. I have my own movement and organization, but There's no logo, there's no ego. We are one heart. We are acting together.
Beautiful.
And I believe that this is the real impact, that we are not going to suffer and to feel miserable. And please help me, but I'm going to take responsibility.
So I'm
If
gonna
you
make
know-
a,
Just another comment. If you know Professor Dan Ariely,
yes,
so
absolutely.
he was part of One Heart as well. He was on board with us. And I asked him right at the beginning, tell me what is the most important thing that we should not miss? Like 5 years from today, if we are going to ask what should be done and what is the biggest achievement out of the Corona challenge or opportunity. And I was expecting is, economical answer. And what Dan really said, the only thing that is matter is the mutual responsibility. And I believe that this is the most important thing that happened, and this is the biggest impact of the Corona.
So I'm gonna challenge you. Beautiful said, beautiful done. And I'm gonna challenge you with one last question before we move on. You talked about something so utopic and so beautiful and so optimistic, but we all know that running a project is more than that feeling of being a part of something bigger, not only seeing impacts, but has a lot of challenges. Could you identify for us a weak spot or something that's more challenging when it comes to One Heart?
Sorry, something that is more?
Challenging or weak when it comes to One Heart operation, or things that you think that you guys can improve in the future? Just so as
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs, definitely we have weak spots and challenges.
Absolutely. There was like few weeks after we started, so suddenly we understood that we have more volunteers than needs. Like sometimes the success is higher than your expectations, and sometimes we are very ready for failures and crises, but we are not ready for success. And the systems and the technology in One Heart was not ready to observe so many volunteers. And I believe that you should always imagine, we should take it from here to both crises and opportunities, and to think very big in advance, and to be able to maintain and to contain a large number of volunteers, for example. The second thing, we had so many people who called us to help, and we didn't have the right match system or the index. And this is something that we are going to do. It's to map all the organizations in Israel on one hand, and to make sure that next time it will be like a second to make sure that you can match between organization and a need. So these stuff of things, I believe that we should make sure that next time we are going to be ready.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I'm going to show a slide. You don't have a lot of time to talk about it, so I'm kind of warning you on this one. We ask you for 3 practical tips for whoever wants to lead an initiative or organization. So really 2 words about each, and then we're going to move on to Nir.
So because I spoke about this slide already, so I will add another thing. It will be 3 words. One is never think about what you can do, but about what you should do, what should be done. The second thing is find the leader. And once you understand that you touch the need and you have the way to lead, jump. Don't hesitate. Just start to do it, and the world is going to open for you.
Wow, Ronnie, I think this is for life, not only for ideas and COVID-19
that's the
solutions.
coronavirus came to just to remind us.
It came to teach us a lot of things. Oh my, first of all, I hope all of you guys are writing this down, and it's going to be recorded, but definitely, toda, Ronnie. Thank you so much for your time.
All the best.
Thank you. Toda rabba. Without further ado, I'm more than excited to invite Nir to come and give us a few words about World Hackathon Day. Maybe a word about what hackathon is, because I'm not sure everyone knows. So like a wider understanding of what we're going to talk about.
Great. First, thank you for having me. I love the energy. I know both of your organization, the Israelis and Aktayel. It's amazing. I love the energy. I love the heart, the spirit. And I love to take initiatives to do something. You know, this is what we do the best. We initiate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good positive energy and vibes. Hackathon, basically, it's a word that is combined by two words. Hackers, like they take things apart, and hackathon is like a marathon. It's basically an event of 24 hours, 48 hours. Then you put developers, designers, creators together, and you just tell them, go and create something that works. Put something on the web, put something like out there, like an app or anything.
Can someone who's not a hacker join a hackathon?
Yeah, you can be a marketing manager. You can have just come up with the idea and help with the content. That's a good question, because everybody can join a hackathon, and for a lot of people, hackathon is their first maybe ticket to a bigger world of opportunities. A lot of people started their tech careers out of hackathons. Companies were born in hackathons. Even we use an example on our website, which is worldhackathonday.com, from Masquerade. Masquerade was an app that, you know, the Instagram AR filters, all these masks and filters. So it was developed in an actual hackathon in Belarus. Yes, one of our members, he developed it. So he wanted to inspire other people. And he says, if I did this in a hackathon, and Facebook acquired them, because Facebook acquired them before Instagram had these all these AR filters, Snapchat had them, and Facebook wanted to compete in this world. So they created it in a hackathon, and Facebook acquired this company, like they made them into a company. So yeah.
So let's start with your initiative, because you talked a lot about hackathons, and let's see, how did it connect to COVID-19 and the world pandemic? What does hackathons have to offer?
So just one fact, like there are all kinds of international days. Like a few years ago, I launched with friends falafelday.com. You know, it was, by the way, it was a hackathon project. It was something small that we created. Nobody announced it. No government need to announce a national holiday for falafel or a Nutella day that somebody made. But in today's world, if you're designing an initiative and you can make it go viral. If you do it the right ways with the right marketing tools and a lot of people who care. So we said, why don't we initiate like a World Hackathon Day? And that was back in 2014, even, you know, way before we even thought about COVID. And it was a real hackathon that had physical locations. And it was also digital, but in 2014, the internet wasn't that good. The bandwidth wasn't that good. And some people hacked from home, as we say, but it wasn't really like a virtual event. It was mainly like a physical event, mainly in Amsterdam and Tel Aviv. In Amsterdam, we had 150 creators. In Israel, we were at Google, we had 450 amazing creators. Back to our times. Corona started and I was stuck at home together with my co-founder, Julian, is also watching. And Julian is from the Netherlands. And I basically just met him. Like I never even face-to-face met him, like only online. That's the unique story.
Which is the new way of meeting people, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You have nowhere to go anyway, so.
He's a very talented creator. He has a company, an agency in the Netherlands. And then we both of us attended a hackathon. So we got to know by doing, not by talking, by doing. And we teamed up, just like, you know, like this, like randomly we teamed up. And we almost won a big hackathon of 50,000 shekels. That's
wow.
It. Yeah. We made it to the finals. And then, you know, I don't know this guy, like, but we are 24 hours. I'm here in Tel Aviv. He's there in Amsterdam. And we are working like so closely and really putting every detail, the presentation, the pitch, you know, all the work, and an actual website, an actual service. And we didn't win. So instead of being disappointed, we said, look, it's Corona out there. So maybe we should take that World Hackathon Day and actually do something in developing a community of creators from all over the world, not just your country and my country, but everybody can join and just hack online from their homes. And we created a website. It it's a lot of work, but I'm just saying, we created a website. We put 8 challenges on our website, like the future of education during COVID, travel, health, economy, like getting businesses back to work. And we call it the World Hackathon Day for the post-COVID-19 new reality. Yeah.
Sorry.
So no, you can.
Thank you. I see that you're starting to talk about the method, so I kind of wanna give us the opportunity. But I'll let you finish your sentence before we move on.
So
you were talking. Yeah, go ahead.
So we launched this website, and we really believed that we are doing something good. And I told Julian, at first we didn't know how many people will attend. It's a new concept. Hackathons were there before, but this is like completely virtual. And during the Corona, of course, people are at home, but a lot of people are distracted. But it's so hard to get the attention of people also, because there's so much things going on with family.
Absolutely.
So we didn't know how many people attend, but I said to Julian, even if 2 people attend, we're still going to do it, because we are changing the lives of 2 people. We're giving hope to somebody. We're doing something positive for your country, my country, and the whole world.
Right.
And that's how we started. Yeah, you can feel free to ask me. Lead me.
Yes, guys, absolutely. We will love to hear a lot of your thoughts. Where just to make sure, when is the hackathon is going to take place?
So it's taking place this weekend. Without major marketing, we reached almost 500 participants, which is a lot from all over the world. The list of countries is everywhere.
Beautiful.
And we have already, the hackathon, I said it's this Friday, but already we have 41 submissions of real ideas, and these are COVID-19 solutions from all over the world. We have 61 from India. We have the stats are keep on updating, because now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel, of course, and all its embassies, and a lot of people like innovation authorities all over the world, cities like Amsterdam and Tel Aviv and others. A lot of people are stepping into this concept of doing a hackathon online. And very, very important point that I want to say, we told everybody, usually hackathons are about a big prize, some incentive that people want to participate because they gain something. So we do have a prize, but it's not about this. We're building a community. That we opened the website and already 500 people joined. So we believe that we have 500 talented people, as it says, calling the world's top online talents. And we want to continue with a matchathon. This is something good that I'm just saying here. We want to continue and build these ideas into a community, and not just a one-time event with a prize.
Beautiful. And actually, that's lead me to my next question, Neil, which we're going to talk about the practicing of thinking outside the box. And I think that's what hackathon bring to the table, kind of requiring people to bring, solutions to a challenge by working together and thinking differently. Do you think that people who are not yet there feeling ready for a hackathon can still practice the idea of thinking outside the box?
Yeah. And by the way, talks like these talks that we're having now, and maybe after it's going to be recorded, I will share it in the hackathon and everywhere that I can. It drives the curiosity, it drives the creativity of people. And then a lot of people, we just have a 10-year-old kid from India who's getting famous now in India because of these hackathons, and he joined our hackathon. And he came to me. We did a webinar, and he says, I want to be like the next Steve Jobs. I want to create the next big idea, So these talks and these hackathons or these communities inspire others, just like the speakers that we have here and many in your community, to do something. It shows that it's possible, even do a small thing. Hackathon doesn't need to be super technical. And that's the idea.
I'm stopping you near because it's actually the question that I was asking you now. I see that Adi asked as well. Do you think that thinking outside of the box is a skill, or is it something that you can gain on the way?
Yeah, there are books about it. You can develop your I think your out of the box methodology. You can develop the skill if you practice it, just like any other skill. And again, even for me, I think that personally, I want people to know, I did a lot of projects before, and I always like to initiate and stuff, but the Corona really pushed me. Sometimes you need, of course, nobody wishes something like this, but something pushes you, and then you have to innovate, just like the state of Israel. So I think that sometimes you need the push, and then you have to think outside of the box. It also helps.
Beautiful. Guys, we have a lot of beautiful questions that are going to be addressed to the rest of the speakers, but I'm moving on to the last slide that Nir is going to present us in that matter. I'm jumping to this one, Nir, if it's okay with you, because I think this is one is going to answer a few questions, because people ask about tips, and maybe later we can talk about books that you guys recommend. We talked about Dan Ariely a little bit, that I know that he has a few great books for people who want to look at things differently. But from your perspective, you gave us 3 tips. If you want to go deeper into them or wider, it would be amazing for us.
Yeah, so just like the ideas I shared at the beginning of the Falafel Day or the Hummus Day, or of course the World Hackathon and any initiative, sometimes like you need to think small and viral. Not everything needs to be super, with logistics and stuff. Some ideas can go viral if they're very sharp and to the point. And I said design it to go viral because, and I think all of us as Israelis, sometimes we have great ideas, but we are the best product at the supermarket that nobody buys. Nobody buys. And it's because we need to design. And that's something I learned from the Dutch people, for example. My partner, Julian, is much better than I in design. And maybe Israelis are better in the code, in gathering around. Like our initiative took so viral because a lot of Israelis, as you say, Israelis, like this amazing organization, care. They have the heart. They don't care about their prestige or their image or all these things. They just want to, jump on and save somebody and help somebody. So I think the idea is, again, back to the point, design it to go viral, make it simple, and so people can get it. The second tip that is listed here is let other people feel a part, and some of the speakers already said it. It's not about you as the initiator of the idea. If it's a big idea, somebody from India or somebody from another place should feel it's his own or her own idea. And that's why, by the way, we designed all these badges and recognition tags. Every judge, every member of our community gets a nice design. And we also talk to them and we tell them, go to your own country, talk to other people, other organizations. It's yours. It's not about us. It's about you.
Interesting. I'm just like adding a comment, Ronnie. It feels as though there is like a lot of collaborations between the tips that you guys are giving about the feeling of belonging and being a part of something bigger. So if you guys are listening, that's another thing to write down. Communities, connecting people, exactly like Lav did. Definitely a great one, Neil. Thank you. Last but not least, let's talk about the third tip.
And of course, include other partners, just like the partners that we have here. I mean, you joined and you did this webinar together. You joined powers together, and we have, Microsoft, the Innovation Authority. You guys, like everybody. It's the story of everybody. So include everybody, also organizations. It will boost you up. So you're gonna get, of course, more shares, more awareness, mentors, judges, volunteers from all over the world. So if you're gonna follow these steps, I think you have a viral initiative that can be a big idea and can help a lot of people.
Sounds like a great tip for business as well. Starting to think about that. So Dan, thank you, Neil, so much. We are going to, if I'm correct, stop the share now, right, Rotem? Am I correct? Yes. So you get to see us and not a slide. Thank you, all of you guys. I would love, one second, to thank you. And we had a lot of questions from the audience that actually were being answered during your talk. So we tried to kind of collaborate it as you guys talk. Rotem, is there any other question that we might have missed from someone in the audience?
No, I think like you answered most of them, and I think all of them because like they spoke so curious, so it's fascinating. I want to thank everybody. Just like one word about our initiative, just like I'm sharing you the site we just like built in a month. Here you can share your initiative. You can just like go to the homepage. It calls COVID-19 Solutions. .org. You just like can press the share your initiative or needs, and then like if you're coming from any place in the world, from Europe, from the States, from Australia, New Zealand, we highly recommend, or we invite you to share with us your ideas and thoughts and solutions, and also to invite you here to be panelists in the webinar. I want to share with you what is going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have another session. Actually, not another webinar. It's going to be a bit different. We'll have cameras on and microphones on. It calls the Human Blender. The Human Blender is also an Israeli initiative that actually came up with the idea to find solution to the social distancing problem. And what they did is creating a series of interactive meeting with people from all over the world. They are meeting in the Zoom. And what actually you can, like the opportunity that you have in this meeting is like, you can feel each other's eyes. You can feel you can feel a deep connection with the person that is standing in front of you in the Zoom. Talk with him, an intimacy conversation. This is sound trivial, but it's something that we're lacking it in the last period of time, the coronavirus. So I highly recommend and invite you to come tomorrow. You're gonna sign up right here. You need to press the webinar, and it's right here in social relation during COVID-19. And then you can sign up to creating virtual friendship. It's gonna happen tomorrow at the same time as right now. And I wanna thank Eden for the fascinating moderated webinar, and also to Lav, Nir, and Ronnie. And thank you, everybody. Please share your ideas, share your solutions, and be like all in one word with mutual responsibility. Thank you.
And I'm also telling all of our participants here, but both of our entrepreneurs who are here, I'm pretty sure that if any one of you have a question towards our entrepreneurs, I'm pretty sure, I'm talking in the name of you guys, but you would be happy to answer an email from anyone in the world regarding any questions, because your ideas are border crossing, right? You don't have to be an Israeli in order to have this kind of operation happening in your country. And I definitely encourage everyone to communicate with each other when it comes to ideas and solutions. I want to thank Rotem and Eyal and Israelis for this amazing, amazing initiative called COVID-19 Solutions. Nir, toda Lav, and toda Roni. That was absolutely fascinating. I wrote some of your tips down, and I want to wish you a great evening. Toda.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, everyone. Bye, who's ever leaving us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, go for it.